Hello whiskey lovers and welcome to another one of Mark's Whiskey Ramblings, and today another Caol Ila. Now some of you might be thinking, oh Mark, another Caol Ila, really? Oh come on. Others might be like, ooh Mark, another Caol Ila, really? Come on. I hope you're in the latter camp because I definitely am. A few weeks ago my friend Reiner from, he's from Belgium as well. He messaged me and he said, hey Mark, I found this new beautifully dark Caol Ila that I would like to share with you, and I would like you to make a rambling about it. And in fact, he's sitting just right there. He's the assistant director of this rambling, maybe. He's definitely the provider of the props, that's for sure. So Ryanair, I'm glad you're here to share this Caol Ila with me. A Caol Ila, 11 years old. This was distilled on the 12th of October 2010 and then bottled on the 17th of January 2020. And this yielded 663 bottles at a cask strength of 57.2% ABV. But what's special about this Signatory bottling in this beautiful decanter, which is oh so difficult to pour from. This Caol Ila was actually first matured on refill hogsheads and then got a finish on a fresh sherry butt for 11 months. And will you look at that color? After 11 months in that fresh sherry butt. It's not revealed on the label what type of sherry casks that was. Might have been Oloroso, might have been Pedro Jimenez. Judging by the color, it's one of these two, definitely. But we don't know. What we do know is that after 11 months of a finish on that fresh sherry butt, this is the beautiful color that Caol Ila got from the cask. And like I said, this is bottled this year at a cask strength of 57.2% ABV. From Reiner, my friend who shares this Caol Ila with me, that's the one we will be trying today, a beautiful, almost mahogany color. And will you look at the way it clings to the glass? This is going to be very, very oily, very maybe even creamy. If you look at how it sticks to the glass, this is going to be a full-bodied malt, despite the fact that it's relatively young. This is 11 years old only, but still. The Caol Ila, 11 years old, 2010 from Signatory, fresh sherry butt, 57.2% ABV on the nose. The thing that immediately stands out is the fact that the typical DNA of Caol Ila, and you know that I love Caol Ila, is that DNA is actually a bit suppressed, is a bit subdued. In this case, it's to be frank, it is completely overrun by the traits from the sherry butt, in fact. I get old leather shoes, saddlebags, chewing tobacco, a hint of mocha in there, some rancio, some balsamico vinegar, ship's ropes. It's quite an intense nose and quite broad, but it's all about the sherry, in fact. And the Caol Ila here is, well, playing second fiddle at best. Having said that though, even though the sherry is dominating, I do believe that this is a fantastic nose indeed. Quite broad, quite intense. Absolutely stunning. And if it's this good, well, I'm not complaining on the palate. Quite oily indeed. Quite intense, very spicy in fact. The first arrival is very sweet, with all the typical traits that you would expect from either an Oloroso or a Pedro Jimenez sherry cask. It's got these dark fruits like raisins, rum raisins, some plum liqueur in there. Again, chewing tobacco, some beef jerky. In fact, it turns a bit umami, in my opinion. And then you get this typical sour note that I lime. I always get some citrusy notes from Caol Ila, and they shine through here as well. But again, they're a bit in the background. The peat is subdued as well. The peat is a bit wrapped in a sweet blanket from the sherry butt, but the peat is there. The typical DNA, the maritime notes that you would expect, like the wet rocks and the lime and the kelp that you would expect from Caol Ila, they are there, but you have to look for it because you're completely wrapped in this sweet blanket of sherry notes, with the balsamico returning, the rancio returning, very sweet, deep sweet notes in there. A bit overpowering the DNA of Caol Ila once more, but again, this is a outstanding, fantastic mouth-coating malt, very powerful in taste. That's of course the high ABV. Beautiful, beautiful whiskey. On the finish then, Finishes medium long, on more leathery notes again. And it's in the final, at the very, very, very end, at the death of this whiskey, that the Caol Ila DNA finally gets a chance to show itself. Now I get some maritime notes, I get the peat, I get the citrusy notes, the kelp, I get Caol Ila towards the death. But before that, it was all about sherry. And when I tried it before with Rainer here, Rainer, we were trying the whiskey before we did this video as a bit of a preparation. Obviously, I told him jokingly that this is not a Caol Ila on a fresh sherry, but this is a sherry that was matured on a Caol Ila cask. So that gives you an idea of how overpowering the sherry in this case is. But nevertheless, this is an outstanding malt. I love it. I'm very grateful, Rainer, that you brought it with you so that we could give it a try. At 11 years old, so a rather young Caol Ila, young and feisty Caol Ila, completely imbued with sherry notes. A Caol Ila from Signatory vintage, distilled in 2010 and bottled at 57.2% ABV. Lovely Caol Ila. And if you are able to find this, give it a go. And that, my friends, is all for this Whiskey Rambling, and I hope to see you at one of Mark's Whiskey Ramblings real soon. And until then, may the malt be with you. Bye-bye.